what date is it? October 26th, meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. This meeting is held in person. Members of the public are also welcome to attend this in-person meeting. And there is an option for remote attendance, provided as a courtesy to the public, but the meeting will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in any specific item on the agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance if possible. Okay, first on the agenda is public comments. Is there anyone here or online for something that is not on the agenda tonight? For something that is not on the agenda?
Take a time.
Okay. We'll also take a roll call of the people who are present here tonight. All right. Kent.
Here.
Rob.
Here.
Sarah.
Here.
Ed.
Here.
I am Bill Boyman. I am vice chair and chairing tonight, so I am here. And staff, John Keeley.
Here.
And Eileen Coleman.
Here.
All right. Next up, there was no public comment. So next up is approval of minutes. We have minutes available from September 28th.
I just sent them out today.
Yeah, late this afternoon. I saw them this afternoon. Did anyone have any comments on those minutes or corrections needed? Nope. Me neither. So in that case, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of September 28th, 2023? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0-0. They are approved. And we did not get the ones for October 12th. Is that correct?
We
Okay.
did not.
All right, next up is a request for determination of applicability for 25 Westwood Street. Toshihiro Shioda is the applicant for the cutting and pruning of trees. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will be holding a public meeting, and at this meeting, we will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Toshihiro Shioda for the proposed removal and pruning of trees within the riverfront area and the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetlands at 25 Westwood Street in Burlington, and will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. This application is being heard pursuant to the Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. All of information, you can get a copy of this application at the Conservation website, conservation@burlington.org. Good evening.
Evening.
This is, the way it works here is you introduce yourself and say where you are from, and then you can describe as much or as little as you would like about your project, and then we'll take over.
So I am Toshihiro Shioda in the 25 Westwood Street. And then we have a number of trees and almost dying branches around our house. And then some of them are along that brook that is running within our land. And then so we consulted tree company, Marquis, about the trimming or cutting the trees. And then they instructed me to talk to the town Conservation Commission and then get an approval specifically for each tree which can be cut and which cannot be cut.
Okay, thank you very much. And we start with our staff.
Okay, so the Conservation Commission went out and took a look yesterday. And I think they were in agreement that the vast majority of the trees out there definitely had issues. So in addition, when we were out there yesterday, I neglected to point out, well, I said that the tree to the left of the driveway hadn't been included, but that it was in bad shape. It actually was included, so that's number 11 on that plan. So that's sort of the large, I think it's a maple in severe decline, pretty far from the brook on the other side of the driveway. So the only trees that the Conservation Commission really seemed to have any questions about were trees 2 and 3, which are the ones, small trees that look healthy, but they're up close to the road. One's a small pine tree, and the other is, not really sure, it's some sort of small hardwood.
Phil, I thought I had them built in there.
But the other 9 trees, I think the commission all agreed had various problems with them that would justify their removal.
Okay. Anyone have comments? Kent?
So I guess what's the biggest concern? It's the safety? Is that the biggest? Like, or they're all mostly dead? Is that the...
They're all various stages of decline, but also there's several of them that have severe leans, or there's branches, heavy branches that are leaning over towards the house. None of them are healthy.
Is there any concern if you take them out, that, erosion or major problems
So
like that?
I would recommend, we have a recommendation in the decision not to allow any stump grinding so that there's no erosion of the bank.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed there's like a replacement too. Okay. Yeah, that's all I had.
Rob?
Yeah, I think, the pruning and removing the troublesome one isn't much of an issue. I didn't visit the site, but from the ones in the front, I wasn't sure if it's, if it's like the proximity to the culvert, or, if it's visibility. There's 2 little ones, but yeah, I think the rest of it's pretty straightforward.
Sarah?
I don't have any concerns. I looked at them and they all looked like they could use a little work, a little tender loving care.
Ed?
Pretty much the same. I think just like what John said too, is on the bank. There's got to be a lot of care in relation to anything being cut there and whatnot. It's right on the bank, a lot of them, but they're all really not what I would call beautiful trees.
Okay.
The one up on the road, I think should stay.
Right. Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you for coming through the Conservation Commission. I mean, this is the correct way to do it when there is a stream and you are right on the bank of the stream. And there's also an area around the stream of concern as well. But the bank is particularly important to the stream. And some of these trees are coming right out of the bank and then growing up. So when you do cut them, we do not want you to pull out the stumps or do any grinding. Cut them and leave a small, we call it now a snag, so a small piece of the tree still standing, so to help support the bank and not cause problems. And almost all of them were in serious decline. And this will help the improvement of the other trees that are around there as well, to get rid of some of that dead stuff and free up some breathing space for the other ones. And a couple of them are really almost touching your roof. They're leaning right over the roof, and they should be removed. So those were all worth cutting. So the way this works is we will issue a decision, and we'll read it, and then you'll be done, basically.
Do you want to ask them about trees 2 and 3?
Those are the ones right up front?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those 2 trees, can we see the map showing the numbers of the trees again, please? 2 and 3, right at the street. Those both looked good. Why were you wanting to cut those 2?
So the major concern is that Westwood Street has a lot of school buses. And in the morning, when we try to get out of that driveway to the street, 2 and 3, summertime especially, have a tree blocking us from viewing the school bus from coming to the 23 towards 27. And then, so that is a concern that the visibility, the side of the driveway towards the street is blocked. And then therefore, we requested that if possible, 2 and 3 should be either trimmed or cut. That tree, these 2 trees are natural. We did not plant it there.
Yeah.
And then we have been there for over 25 years or so. And then when we started living there, there was no tree there. So it came after that. So
It's a safety concern.
it is a traffic safety concern,
Right.
rather than concern to my house property.
Okay. Does that change your opinions at all as to whether they should stay or go?
Well, you could always evaluate trimming the lower branches so that, up to like, I mean, they're not big trees, so I'm not really sure how much tree there is left if you trimmed it up to 8 or 10 feet high to provide visibility. But if that's feasible,
Right. Okay. Did you understand that? If it's,
Yep.
yes.
So I think that as long as I can secure the visibility, I do not need to cut it from the root and then just trimming a small amount of the branches so that we can see the bases, then that satisfies my request.
Yeah, I mean, you should be able to ask. I mean, I've dealt with Marquis a lot of tree work, and they're pretty good as far as like, I mean, they should be able to tell you to John's point, so you're not like basically going to trim them back to the point where you're going to basically, like John said, it's going to be like a beam pole. So, like Marquis should be able to tell you, you know, what the options are for those trees, and maybe they can consult with you. I mean, that's probably, but they should be able to give you options. If you're going to them and saying, okay, these trees are cut, these trees are trim, and then you have the two in the front, they can give them your proposal and say, these are the issues I'm having, and they should be able to give you a couple options, and maybe you could check with the conservation to make sure that jives.
Okay, that sounds very good. So we will have a determination that we can read.
I think, just to let you know, that we can talk about it with the determination, but I think he would like some feedback on, sorry, I don't know what it was, but generally about the replacements, what they would be and where they could go. So, but let me find the determination.
I have another question also. Just with the wording of the document here, 5 tree removals, but we've talked really about at most quibbling over 2. So 11 minus 2 is 9. So I'm just wondering why it says 5 tree removals in the document.
Well, then we can fix that. I probably just got it wrong. Oh, sorry, where'd it go? Draft decisions. Westwood trees. Let's fix it right now, in fact. And I'll have to
so,
reshare again.
so there's 11 trees altogether, but they're not all being removed. Some of them are being pruned.
Well, that was why.
Maybe that's probably
They
the
requested to
discrepancy.
remove 7.
Okay.
And
That was it.
And now you're
Gotcha.
basically approving 5 with 2 potentially
extras.
also
Okay.
pruned. Yeah.
That was all consistent.
Okay, so let me make it a little bigger. And some of these things were highlighted because we knew we were going to have this discussion. The applicant proposed to cut 7 trees and prune large branches of 4 additional trees at 25 Westwood within the riverfront area. Sorry, that doesn't need to be highlighted anymore. We can talk about the rest in a minute. The proposed work was located within the riverfront area in the buffer zone to Bank and BBW. The resource area was not delineated, and you're not finding the exact boundaries of the wetland resource, but the stream is the headwater of the Ipswich River. The closest trees were on the stream bank. This is saying that this decision is only for the work described here, and no other work is reviewed and permitted. The applicants may proceed with 5 tree removals, so I think that's now correct because you prefer trim.
Right.
Removal of any other trees would require additional approval from the Commission or Administrator and may require submission of a written assessment by an arborist that they pose a hazard or are in decline. For trimming or removals that are not feasible to do by hand, machinery should be located in the driveway or lawn areas. Prior to cutting, the trees shall be marked with ribbon and inspected by the Conservation Commission staff along with the tree company representatives. I think that's mainly so we're clear that we're all on the same page about which trees are going. The stumps of trees shall not be removed without selective approval from the Commission or Administrator. The applicant is encouraged to leave snags where feasible for wildlife habitat and to leave part of the cut trees in the wetland. 5 native trees to be selected in consultation with Conservation Department staff shall be planted within 10 feet of the stream bank. So I guess when John or somebody is out looking at those trees, you can chat about what the species might be. Debris or lawn clippings shall not be dumped in the wetlands or the stream. I'm just going to write or stream. Pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides should not be used within the wetlands or within 100 feet of wetlands or stream. And we have permission to just come out and check on the proceedings while the tree cutting is happening.
Upset.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on that? You have any questions, Mr. Shioda?
Yes. So how the timeline or the procedure will be after this decision? Should I contact to the tree company that we received this decision from the commission and then arrange the meeting of the commission and the company?
Yes, you'll get the decision next week. It'll go out on Monday. So anytime after that, you can set up an appointment, or Tuesday. Set up call Marquee and set up a meeting.
Okay. And so that is my role to arrange that meeting. Okay, I understand.
Yeah, because we probably have more availability than them. So if they say we can come out sometime on Wednesday, one of us can probably be there. Well, not next Wednesday, but maybe next Wednesday. So would you like to pick it up? Are you hoping to do this as soon as possible? You can pick up the decision or we can mail it to you. That'll just take a bit longer.
So we are not too much rush, and then therefore we can wait.
Okay, we'll just mail it.
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
It will be helpful if you can tie a ribbon around the particular trees that you're talking about, so we can confirm which ones they are with the tree company.
Okay. Thank you.
Or you can just have them mark them, just have when the tree company comes, they can just, that's what I've done in the past with my trees, they can spray them, like spray paint instead of marking.
Not the ones to be pruned.
No, yeah, no, I mean, not the ones getting pruned, but the ones that are getting taken out.
No,
Like
no,
the tree
no,
company
totally.
should be able to spray paint them.
Okay.
But yes, you could mark the ones that are getting pruned. The ones that are getting cut, you can have them spray paint.
Okay, no other comments? All right, can I have a motion to approve the determination of applicability for 25 Westwood Street?
So moved.
All in favor? 500. You are all set, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great night. Thank you.
Arigato gozaimasu. Konbanwa. All right, next on the agenda is continued public hearing for abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for 252 Fox Hill Road, Town of Burlington. This is a resource area boundary confirmation only, and DEP number is 122692. Who's here for that?
Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Steve Ball from West Witten Group and the senior ecologist there on behalf of the town. We had a public hearing with the commission 2 weeks ago, and the discussion centered around the wetlands and how they were determined. And we had an on-site meeting with the commission a couple of days earlier and found that there was one small correction that needed to be made to one of the 4 wetland areas. That was wetland 1, and we moved a couple of flags out into the field a little bit. And we had since submitted to revised plans, and they're dated October 16th, and sent them over to the commission. So I guess I would turn back over to the commission if they have any questions at this point.
Okay, thank you. We'll go to our staff and see if there was any outstanding issues on this.
So as Ms. Balls just said, the commission did the site walk. We have received and I don't know if we distributed, but we did. Okay, so there's minor changes to this plan. That plan date is referenced in the draft decision. There's a minor change to wetland 1. It doesn't impact any of the other wetlands. And we have a draft decision breaking down with each of the 4 wetlands, what we're approving on each of the 4 wetlands, in addition to the certified vernal pool.
Okay. Were there any other comments or issues that people on the commission had outstanding? I did not have any. Okay. In that case, I think we can go to just reading the decision. Right?
There's nobody in the audience.
Is anyone here in the audience or online for this item?
Sure.
The continued public hearing for the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation at Fox Hill School. I hear nothing.
What was that?
You want to go through the decision?
Sure.
Okay, so basically the findings discuss the plan references, and then the commission finds that the vernal pool delineation shown in the approved plan to be an accurate representation of the vernal pool on the parcel. Commission finds that wetland 1 flags, after some slight changes as represented on the revised plan, are an accurate representation of the BVW of wetland 1. The commission finds that the portion of wetland 2 within Burlington is accurate, and you're approving that line. The portion of wetland 2 that is in Wilmington, the commission finds is generally accurate, but you're not going to formally approve that portion of the delineation because it's in Wilmington. Wetland 3 has just 1 flag right on the property line, and you're approving that one. The other ones are off-site, partially on private property in Burlington, and then that delineation actually continues into Wilmington. And we find that those flags are generally accurate, but you're not formally approving anything but flag 108 in wetland 3.
And that 1 flag is the one closest to the project,
Yeah,
correct?
it's
So
right
that's-
on the line. Yeah, and it's right, it's the key one, actually. Wetland 4 is the wetland that's on the other side of Fox Hill, of Westwood Street. And the commission, that one is entirely on town land. In Burlington, the commission is approving that wetland boundary without any changes. And the commission is finding there are no other wetland resources on the property besides those 4 wetlands and the certified vernal pool, which is contained within wetland 1.
Okay.
Actually, it's not actually contained within 1. It's coterminous with 1. It actually extends out further than the BVW.
All right, so are there any other comments?
You have to close the public hearing?
Yes, we will. Okay, and is that acceptable to Ms. Ball?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, I'm budgeting.
Very good. In that case, could I have a motion to close the public hearing on the abbreviated notice of resource area delineation for the Fox Hill School, DEP 122692?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? May I have, you have a question? No, okay.
No, I just need, sorry.
Bless you.
Just, Sarah, for the record, when you should just state publicly that you watched the meetings.
I did watch that part of the
You
meeting.
should just say that.
Yeah,
I'm
you-
publicly stating I watched the Fox Hills several times over accidentally.
Thank you.
Now you're not qualified for that last vote. Okay, may I have a motion to approve the findings as described?
So moved.
Second, Ken?
All in favor? So moved. That it? Do I need to say issue the whole thing?
Did you already vote
So
to
moved,
issue
then
the
vote.
order of
No.
resource areas?
Well, the findings, we got a,
Approve the findings.
it was moved and seconded, but you didn't vote. I didn't hear it, sorry.
Yeah, we did, we all raised our hand.
Oh, I
was
wasn't
5-0.
watching hands.
And before the findings, did you already vote to issue the ORAD?
No.
Okay.
So now, may I have a motion to issue the order of resource area delineation for the property at the Fox Hill School?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0-0. Okay, that is all set. Ms. Ball?
I was taking hands that time.
Thank you.
I was
Thank you.
writing down.
Yes.
All right. Next on our agenda is a continued public hearing, notice of intent for 29 Geddick Road. Applicant is GRH Homes LLC to demolish the existing dwelling and construct a new dwelling, DEP number 122691.
Hi, I'm Greg Hickox of GRH Homes, Manchester.
Good evening. You want to add any comments before we start as to what's happening?
No, I went over it with Eileen, and I'm pretty much in sync on what we're doing.
Okay.
Well, she sent me.
I sent him the draft bylaw, so he's just aware.
Okay,
Discuss some plan changes.
we had a couple
Oh,
of...
sorry, that's a point. I should just say, they did update the plan.
Yes.
Which is probably what you're about to say,
Yep.
Bill. They updated the plan to show that they had moved the chambers over a little bit, partly so that they could save 2 more trees, which is what everybody had talked about and wanted. In consultation with John, they agreed that the post and rail fence wasn't really necessary in this particular case because it's a pretty steep embankment, so they're not going to be doing much development down there. Was there anything else that was new on the plan?
That was really
Planting trees?
we're planting 5 native New England trees.
It just marked that trees would be added, yes. Yep.
Okay, so that was all the items that I had as well. And thank you for making those modifications. Greatly appreciated. Any other comments? No? All right, then we have a draft decision that we can go over.
The right one up. Okay, starting with the bylaw. This just describes how it was proposed demolition and reconstruction within the riverfront area of a tributary to Lovers Brook. It also involved the infiltration bed, removing 5 trees and planting 5 trees, and the site was also within the 100-foot buffer to bordering vegetated wetlands and bank. We listed the various plans and submissions that they made, including the stormwater report. The closest point of the proposed new dwelling would be approximately 100 feet from the stream and about 97 feet from the BVW, but work was going to occur within the buffer zones. The closest trees to be removed would be approximately 52 feet from the stream and wetland, while the closest grading would be approximately 66 feet from the stream. While they're technically exempt from the mass stormwater management regulations, they did comply with the wetlands bylaw regulations, which by infiltrating into the Cultec chambers and infiltrating the driveway and part of the roof into a stone trench, and erosion controls will be applied throughout the construction. This under other findings, we had highlighted a part here about the applicant enhanced the riverfront by planting trees in the inner riverfront. I think we might like to discuss whether some more trees should go in. The Commission is waiving the requirement for an alternatives analysis since the stream is jurisdictional only under the bylaw and there's no other feasible location for the new dwelling that would be further from the stream. And this permit will serve as the permit under the erosion and sedimentation control bylaw. And we are proposing a bond in the amount of $3,500. Okay, let's switch over to the order of conditions, which
Very
is...
unnecessary, but we'll do it. You know where I live on the internet, come on.
John will send me around, apparently. Okay, so we're relisting all the plans. The first several are absolutely standard. We have them in every order of conditions. No work within any other wetland resource has been permitted other than work as described within the buffer to wetlands in the 200-foot riverfront area. Pre-construction conditions are, as Greg has seen them before many times, and he knows that he will have to call us according to these conditions for a pre-construction meeting. We will want to see evidence that it's been, the order has been recorded at the Registry of Deeds. He'll need to put his DEP sign up, and we'll be looking for erosion controls and anything else that's required at that time. The erosion controls shall be installed along the line shown on the reference plan. Materials should not be stockpiled within 50 feet of the wetlands or stream, and any stockpile should be at least 20 feet from the street. No dewatering is permitted unless we receive and approve a dewatering plan. Keep the roadway clean by sweeping daily if sediment is getting out on the road, which it probably won't because you'll have your erosion controls in place. No work involving filling and grading other than what is shown on the plan. The pollution control conditions are all standard do not dump any lawn clippings or other materials into the wetlands, and that will remain as a condition on the certificate of compliance in perpetuity. Don't use herbicides, fungicides within 100 feet of wetlands. This is also a perpetual condition. The rooftop will be infiltrated into a field of 12 Coltech C100 units, and the runoff from the driveway and part of the house shall be directed to stone trenches and then into the same Coltech bed. The applicant shall provide the new buyers with a copy of the O&M plan, and the inspections and cleaning specified in that plan shall be performed in perpetuity. The removal of 5 trees, as we discussed, is permitted by this decision. Removal of any additional trees will require that Greg comes back to us and through you. We're proposing 8 native trees be planted on site, 5 as replacements and 3 as riverfront area improvement. Species and location shall be determined in consultation with staff. No machinery to be used close to the wetland. The trees shall be monitored for 2 full growing seasons and shall be replaced if they fail to survive. And the surety shall not be returned until we are confident that they have survived for 2 years. And we will not sign off on certificate of occupancy until the site is stable. And then it explains what you need for the certificate of compliance.
Okay. You all set with that, Mr. Hickok?
Yes, I just have one comment on the 2 maple trees. I met John out there. We were pruning those trees. It's just not on, the 2 maple trees, the big branch leaning on the, but we don't have to put it on that, do we? I just want to be clear that I'm pruning those 2 trees. I showed John what we were intending to do.
Yeah, I remember there was one with a branch sticking straight out towards the house, yeah.
The other one just had a couple things where I met with the tree guy that.
Yeah, we can add it.
Yeah, let me just add, sorry, go ahead.
Good.
I was just going to say under project description, removal of 5 trees, comma, trimming of 2, and blah, blah, blah.
Maples, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I had something else. Sure. Just a maintenance thing, it's the first time we've probably been there. We didn't see as much junk around, any dumpings and whatnot. The only thing that's there is a bike frame. It's,
A bike frame?
Towards the back on the brook side. They
Okay.
just pull that out.
Yeah, sure, we'll get rid of that, yeah. We showed John some stuff we wanted to clean up, just some, we're not going to upset the area, but they'll hand clean it, put it into the thing, and get it out of there. Make it look good back there.
Thank you for that.
Great. Any other comments from the commission? Okay, so may I have a motion to close the hearing for the notice of intent at 29 Geddick Road to demolish existing dwelling, construct a new dwelling, DEP 122691.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second, Ken.
All in favor? 500. May I have a motion to approve the findings for the notice of intent at 29 Geddick Road, DEP 122691?
So moved.
Are we doing Geddick or are we doing 36 Cambridge?
Get it.
Geddick. 29 Geddick. Cambridge is the bank.
Okay.
I'm going to abstain
Okay,
because I didn't watch this part of the hearing.
all right. So all in favor of approving?
Did we get a second?
Not yet. That's why I'm asking.
Oh, second.
Second, okay. So in favor? So it's 401. May I have a motion to approve the conditions for 29 Geddick Road, notice of intent, DEP 122691?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? 401 again. And finally, may I have a motion to approve the security of $3,500 for the project at 29 Geddick Road, DEP 122691?
So moved.
Second, Ken.
In favor? 401. We're all set, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, next up is item number 8, notice of intent for, I will read it now. We are holding a public hearing to take all information relating to a notice of intent and wetland bylaw application filed by the Salem 5 Bank for the demolition of the existing bank building and the construction of a new bank building at 36 Cambridge Street in Burlington. Proposed work would be within riverfront area and the 100-foot buffer zone to bank and bordering vegetated wetlands pursuant to the Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The commission will view all information relative to this application and thereafter may issue an order of conditions / Burlington wetland permit. And all information on the application can be viewed at the Conservation Commission website.
Just tell me which one you want to see as you go along.
Good evening.
Good evening. For the record, Malcolm Basie with Bowler Engineering representing the applicant, Salem 5. Here is John Kaczynski with Salem 5, the applicant. As I see everyone with their laptops here, I'm realizing it might be time to retire the hearing bag. That might be outdated at this point. The project, I'm sure most folks are aware of it, is 36 Cambridge Street, right in front of the Edens Plaza there. It's been Salem 5. I think it's been in existence for about 60 years or so. The existing bank building is quite a bit outdated. Salem 5 bought the building, I think, 10 or so years ago and looking to update it and rehabilitate the existing site. The resources area in the vicinity site, I suspect there's been quite a few applications with this resource area with all the development around it. It's Little Brook. It runs to the plan north of this parcel in between this and the development to the rear. Associated with the brook is obviously bordering vegetated wetland. Through that corridor there. The project doesn't propose any work in or proximate to the wetlands, but the site is within the 100-foot buffer zone to that wetland and within the 200-foot riverfront area of Little Brook, which is a perennial stream. The project removes the demolition of the existing 1,400-square-foot bank building and the existing parking area, which is about 19 spaces, and the reconstruction of a new 2,300-square-foot bank with 11 parking spaces. The planning board actually has a maximum parking space requirement, so there's going to be about 8 spaces less than there is today. That reduction of 8 spaces actually allows for quite a bit more pervious area existing than there is today. If you can envision the site is essentially the building and paved parking throughout through the driveway and up to the road, so we're able to pull the edge of pavement along the plan north or the wetland side of the property in a little bit to add a little vegetation there and then some additional interior pervious areas throughout the site. So overall about a 2,600 square foot reduction in total paved area, or around 10% of the total site area.
Okay.
In addition to reducing total impervious, it doesn't extend beyond the existing limit of disturbance or vegetation and pulls the impervious area in. We are proposing some stormwater improvements, which I'll talk about in more detail because I know staff had questions about that. But as shown, some new deep sump-footed catch basins and new connections out to the to the wetland area. We did provide a drainage memorandum. The site reduces impervious area, so inherently it reduces the peak flows for all storms. It increases the natural groundwater recharge on site. Concurrently with this application, we are filing for site plan and special permit review with the planning board. We met with them last Thursday for the first time. Didn't have any specific questions relative to the site plan. They did ask quite a bit of questions about landscaping and preparing a new landscaping plan from them. Just want to make the commission aware. We'll obviously no invasive species or anything that would be inappropriate, but we'll provide that plan once finalized. I know speaking with Eileen and John earlier today, I know one question they had was relative to drainage and if there was more that could be done to improve the existing conditions or perhaps work some LID into the site. I know I talked first with John and identified a few areas we think we could improve it a little bit. At the top left of the plan, there's an existing catch basin there, which we're planning on draining through a curb inlet and down into that catch basin. To me, that's a beautiful opportunity for a small rain garden. We could build a little depression around that existing catch basin, put a little soil media in there, plant it to allow for a little additional treatment and infiltration.
Do you mean over here, where I'm pointing?
Yep, right there. Yep, exactly. In additional areas, the landscape island interior to the parking area, there's a deep sump-footed catch basin. There's a drainage easement that cuts through there, which I want to explore a little bit, but it could be another additional opportunity for a rain garden. So we will explore that. I thought that was a good comment from staff, and anything we can do to just work some things into the site plan.
Okay. All right, thank you for that. That was very thorough, and you've already started to make some modifications in good direction, so that sounds good.
If I say it, it's a lot nicer than if someone else says it, so.
All right, Eileen?
Okay, so as was described, this is a proposed redevelopment in a lot of the site is in the inner, the site is in the riverfront area to Littlesbrook as explained, and also in the buffer to vegetated wetlands. I was concerned because when we were looking at these plans, there was really no talk of the riverfront area, and as far as I know, there's no alternatives analysis. It didn't really seem like they had read our stormwater or wetlands bylaws or regulations. I was concerned that they seemed to only be proposing one additional catch basin and one manhole, which is what I initially saw. So I'm very pleased to hear that they're considering adding some new LID, because that should just be I think that should just be standard. Was there something else? I'm happy to say that they're also considering doing something more with the landscaping, because the trees that were mentioned were Acer rubrum, which is maple, but we would like a straight native, not cultivars.
Okay.
And you're also hydroseeding with non-native species as well. You know, if you're going to put in grass, maybe it could be even, wetland mix or something a bit more native friendly. And then
Remember that one more time. What area are you talking about for that?
Well, that was just where they were talking about putting grass. It was just your standard, like turf lawn grass, and I was wondering if they could make that also a little bit more native and therefore drought tolerant. They would have to do a lot less irrigation if they did that.
Correct.
And I did have a question about the recharge as well, based on what was written in the stormwater plan. But as explained, they are going to look into beefing up the stormwater, the drainage options. So I think that's a great idea. I like the rain garden idea, and doing something else in that landscaping island. I think that's a good idea. John, did you have something else to add before I hand it over?
So that area where you're contemplating the rain garden, there's a lot of Phragmites just beyond that catch basin, which would be great if you remove that when you're installing a rain garden. No, not Phragmites.
No, it was Japanese knotweed.
Japanese knotweed.
Yes. It was knotweed.
Sorry I did that to you, John. Might have too.
These were some of the pictures that we had taken yesterday when we were out there. So it is just a sea of impervious at the moment. So it is a nice improvement that they're planning to reduce it by 2,600 square feet, and I definitely do appreciate that. I think this is the area back here where John was pointing out that it obviously moves a little bit further over as well, but this is where the knotweed kind of extends from there. That I think he meant that's close to the catch basin you were talking about, right?
And that catch basin, is that truly a catch basin? It looked like it was just went straight down to the drainage pipe.
You mean, does it have a sump in it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure that it has a deep sump with it.
Or
It
any
might be-
sump at all. I mean, it seemed like it was just a grate that went down, that had a pipe that went into the drain that comes from Cambridge Street into the stream with no treatment at all.
I think you're right. I think it sits right on top of the pipe.
Yeah.
So that would be from DOT. So it would be great if you could do something with that, because that's horrible.
Yeah, we can make sure.
Oh, sorry, this is the catch basin exactly that you're talking about, that we were just talking about, right there at the corner. Right?
Yep, yeah. Yeah, I don't know how much we'll be able to alter that catch basin. We can certainly treat it before it gets in there.
That would be an improvement, because I think there's just not much that's cleaning up that water before it hits the stream.
Would you also recommend that catch basin be changed to a deep sump?
Whatever they can do to improve things out there will be an improvement. Anything would be an improvement, probably, because like John said, it looks like it's just coming straight through from DOT. It doesn't really look like it's doing anything.
Zero treatment, it's
There's
just,
nothing.
it goes directly into the brook.
Right.
So yes,
Okay.
deep sump, catch basin, and/or adding some rain garden sort of feature. Love
That
it.
would be very helpful, yeah.
Love that.
Okay. Any other comments from the staff?
No.
Okay. Ed, what do you have today?
I think it's a pretty good plan. I would like to take an apology from our last hearing. I said there was a frame bike sitting alongside the brook on that side. I don't know if you noticed that. Just pull it out.
Oh, it's here.
What was it?
A bicycle
Bicycle.
frame.
That's what I thought you said,
On the
yeah.
bank, I guess. I didn't notice it. Back to the plan.
Okay, Sarah?
It looks like an improvement over what's there right now. So I don't have any questions.
All right. Rob?
No, nothing major to add. I think it's a lot of good things, and it's going to improve the site and make it a lot better.
Kent?
No, that, like, Eileen's very thorough and appreciate all the comments. It's good.
Oh, she is. She always is.
Or both John, both very good. Project looks like like Sarah said, a very good improvement.
Okay, I have a couple of comments. First of all, I think it is going to be an improvement overall. There'll be more green space, and, you know, we'll just talked about improving the drainage, which in treating it somewhat, that'll be helpful. We were also discussing that the green strip along the street, that it would be nice to have something there. We realize you can't put in trees because of the power lines, but some shrubs or flowers, and I'm sure the planning board brought that up. I know they were very big on that for the Herb Chambers down the street, not Herb Chambers, but the Audi place down the street. They wanted that to be more presentable as people came into town type of thing. So I think that's probably what they were discussing with you.
They were not shy about that point. They definitely wanted landscaping along the front.
Good, because we would like to see that as well. There could be some space in the back green on the top of the drawing, the space there to put in a tree or two, perhaps?
Yeah, I'll talk to the landscape folks, see if there might be something that's wetland or riverfront friendly that we could put back
Yeah,
there.
and another native tree in there. And again, the maples that were mentioned were variants. They're not true natives, so we prefer the true natives whenever possible. I have one other comment. I see there's a gas line going to this building. Why not just heat it with a heat pump? An air supply heat pump. You wouldn't need a gas line at all. It's small enough, you should be able to heat and cool that with a heat pump quite easily, I would think, and you'd be carbon-free.
It's something I could talk to the applicant about. It's a little outside of my expertise as far as what that would
Okay.
involve with the building, but we can certainly ask.
It's outside of our authority as well, but it's certainly an environmental thing that it's doable, and I think it would be interesting to see if you could manage that. And it'd be one less utility that you'd have to attach to the property as well. So,
Yep, sure, we'll certainly look into it.
okay. And I'd also pitch for any kind of solar you could put on the roof if that were possible. You could look into that just to see if it's feasible, make it up to the modern standards that people are looking for and are going to be needing in the future. That would be appreciated. Okay, so is there any other comments or concerns?
Just curious for maybe there's a planning board thing, the reduction in the number of spots. Is that like something to do with like the building thing? Because it's
Yeah.
19. I'm just curious. Education.
Yeah, zoning actually has a maximum number of spots, so
okay.
typically there's a minimum. In Burlington, there's a maximum, so you can't overpark your site or overpave it, which I can certainly understand why that would be the case.
Oh, okay, so that's where the 11 came from versus
Yeah.
the original was 9. Okay. All right,
A minimum of 10, a maximum of
Okay.
11 under zoning.
cool. Thank you. Just curious.
Okay, well, you have obviously another hearing with the planning board. We don't close our new public hearings on the first night anyway, so people who might be listening have an opportunity to add some comments after the fact. So this will be continued. I'll ask for a vote. Is it okay to continue it to our next meeting on November 9th? The one after that would be December 14th, since we only meet once in November.
Yep, November 9th would be great.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Did you ask if there were comments from the audience?
No, I have not. Is there any comments from anyone online or in the audience for this project, the demolition and installation of a new Salem 5 bank on 36 Cambridge Street? I hear no such comments. Okay, may I have a motion to continue this public hearing until our next meeting on November 9th?
Move. Second?
All in favor? 500.
Awesome.
Thank you very
Thanks
much,
very much.
gentlemen.
Have a great night.
was quick.
Okay. Next up is one more notice for me to read here. This is a notice that we will be holding a public hearing to take all information related to a notice of intent Burlington Wetland Bylaw application filed by the Nordblom Company for the reconfiguration of a parking lot at 168 Middlesex Turnpike, the rear of 2nd Avenue, 23 4th Avenue, and 5254 3rd Avenue in Burlington. It abuts a number of properties there. The proposed work would be within the bordering land, subject to flooding pursuant to the Wetland Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The Commission will review all information relative to this application and thereafter may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington wetland permit. And any information on this application can be viewed at the Conservation Commission website. This one, the DEP number is pending. Okay, good evening, gentlemen. Can you introduce yourselves and let's get started?
Hello, my name's Chris Dalen. I'm with the Nordblom Company.
Good evening. I'm Drew Gallant from R.J. O'Connell and Associates.
Okay.
I'm Brian Tim from R.J. O'Connell Associates as well, professional engineer.
All right, thank you very much.
So I just, first I'd like to thank Mr. Bovin and the members of the commission for their time tonight. I'll just give a brief overview of the purpose of the island modifications. Northwest Park, we continue to strive for more cohesive and safe development for both employees and Burlington residents alike. We're here to just discuss a traffic calming safety initiative, which is essentially just island modifications, as I said, for a shared parking lot area here at Northwest Park. As we can go to the next slide, sorry.
Do you want me to move on more?
Yeah, I can go. This is general overview. This gets a little bit closer. You can go to the next one.
Yep.
We're calling the project traffic calming because of essentially the 4 islands that you see inside that red rectangle. It's the main area of concern. Cars regularly converge on that one location from 5 different directions. And we've had multiple complaints from tenants in the park asking us to make the area safer for their employees. This will become even more of a safety hazard, as I'm sure we'll see a lot more foot traffic coming through here with for surrounding office buildings as employees are returning to the office more. And they're also walking up to 3rd Ave Retail Shopping, which is directly to the left of this screenshot here.
And the new pickleball courts.
Exactly, right? Thank you. And so also there are, moving forward, they'll be affecting more Burlington residents as the Lifetime Living residential building is directly to the right of this screenshot here, and that'll be 130 apartment units. And then this route right through that parking lot is the shortest distance to the 3rd Ave Retail Shopping Center. So whether or not we make the safety improvements or not, people are still going to be walking through there. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brian and Drew, and they can give you some more specifics on the plan that we came up with.
Sure. Eileen, if you wouldn't mind going to the next slide.
Do you want me to zoom that in, or are you good with that?
Could you actually zoom it in a little bit?
Maybe.
I guess from a broad standpoint, we're in front of you all because of the bordering land subject to flooding, which is the jaggedy line on the right, and the area to the right of that line. And we are proposing a 5-foot concrete walkway from 4th Ave up towards our project space. There is an existing sidewalk on 4th Ave, so it will connect it into...
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So that is why we are in front of you all for the notice of intent. To create that walkway, we will be putting in a small wall and regrading, which will affect the flood storage. To account for that, we're going to grade a little bit to provide more flood storage than what is currently there by 60 cubic feet, but that's probably too precise. Within the space on the left, we're going to adjust some of the landscape islands to straighten it out, and the drive lane from 4th Ave going up will be very straight with concise intersections, which is much more improved over what is currently out there. Go to the next slide, please.
That one?
Yeah, that one. So that shows the new landscape islands, and what is brown is the impervious area. So it's much straighter than it is currently out there. Right now, there are basically 3 landscape islands.
Can you move it a little closer to the microphone, please? I'm having trouble hearing you. I'll move the microphone closer to you. Yeah, good.
Sure. Could you jump to the next slide, please?
Yep.
So this is our grading and drainage plan. We are increasing the impervious area by 320 square feet. There's such a large area going to this drainage system right now, which is just catch basins going to the main drainage system. We're going to improve it by adding 2 deep sump catch basins, which will reduce the amount of volume going to each catch basin, provide more treatment with the sumps than what is currently out there. And then do some minor regrading in the new roadway, which will just create a smooth drive from 4th Ave all the way up. That is basically it. You could go back to the previous slide, which gives a
One?
better color.
That one? You want me to leave it on that one for now, while they discuss?
Okay, thank you. Eileen or John?
Okay, so this is before you because it's in bordering land subject to flooding. It's not in any other resource area. It's beyond the riverfront area. There's rivers across Middlesex Turnpike, but it's not in riverfront. So in bordering land subject to flooding, basically, if you're altering the grade, you have to do compensation at each elevation. So a portion of this site, just the section closest to 4th Avenue, is in the 100-year floodplain. I must have missed, I'll admit I didn't see all these plans, but I couldn't find actually a table that showed the filling at each elevation and what the compensation is. So we need to know how many cubic feet at each 1-foot increment, or maybe even half-foot, since it's a fairly small area. What you're filling and what you're compensating. And that's basically it. I mean, that's really, the increase in impervious area is fairly minor. I don't know if you'll remember, this site has a robust underground infiltration system, and then it also has a rain garden up near Middlesex Turnpike, which was designed by some famous landscape architect. It's pretty fancy. So the stormwater is going to be fine. So we just need to make sure that it meets the performance standards for filling and cutting. I will note that this section of floodplain there are new floodplain maps which will probably become effective in 2025. And I can actually share that.
You want me to stop?
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. I can't find it.
The thing you had put in the folder?
Oh, there it is. There it is. So this section, I'm not sharing it.
There you are.
Okay, so You can see it's in the middle of the plan, right above the 131.1. So this section of 100-year floodplain in the new floodplain maps will become 500-year floodplain, and this won't be considered bordering land subject to flooding. So, I mean, FEMA's basically saying that it's really not 100-year floodplain, but technically now you're required to use the existing maps, so.
Okay.
So there's even less of a concern about this project, but still technically, you need to make sure that they're compensating for whatever fill they're doing.
And here intuitively, I thought all the changes were going to be expanding.
Yeah, in this case, actually, where the new, across the street from this, where they're building the new lifetime housing, which is currently mapped as 100-year floodplain, that will also come out of the 100-year floodplain.
Okay. And what exactly filling is taking place here? Is that was of concern?
It's just to build up some of the concrete walkway. Currently, the grade slopes, so we're building out the walkway a little bit, and we have to fill.
So it's not as steep or?
Yeah, we have to fill it and then put a wall to protect a tree.
Okay.
So otherwise, we would grade off slowly at a 3-to-1 slope, but we need a wall to protect the tree, so elsewhere, we'll have a cut to provide the storage.
All right.
And I would note, this does not have a DEP file number yet either.
Okay. Okay, let's go to the commission. Any comments? Kent?
Nothing to add.
Rob?
Nothing major. I did see, I think right in between the two buildings, right by 23, I think 4th Ave, there's like a depression in there. Topographically, it drops down quite a bit. I don't know if there's, I thought maybe if there isn't, it seemed like they could have some, any new plantings or something in there. It might be like topographically, there's a low point right here, like this is where the street is. It slopes down.
Is that the area that they're talking about filling?
I think the stone wall would be here, so it's on the other side. So here, just right. I think there's some large trees nearby there too, but yeah.
And you're suggesting that they do what? That they do some plantings in there?
Where are you saying here, so that they can notice that?
Yeah, on that one, be like in here.
Way in the upper right of the prop.
In the upper right, sort of.
Of the flood zone area, the upper right.
Yeah, in front of 23 4th Ave.
Further to the right.
Sort of behind the proposed retaining wall. Like it looks like just it drops down a little bit. So if there's any, I think there was like labeled like mulch and stuff. I think on the map, but yeah, I'm not sure if there's any types of additional like little landscaping improvements or something. But yeah, it's.
We haven't looked in the flood area, but we are planning on providing some plantings in the large landscape area to the left side. On the top left island, there's a pretty good area to provide a lot of plantings.
Where are we talking about? Like over here? No.
Yeah, in the parking lot, left side, almost left center of the screen. Yep, in there.
There?
Right. But we haven't looked in the flood area. We can investigate that.
Was there a planting plan? I don't remember. Was part of this?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. It would be helpful to see one. Yeah. Planting plan as well. Okay. Sarah.
I don't have anything to add.
Ed.
I'm just curious, John, you kind of let them know that there'll be a change in the flood plan and whatnot. Is that just basically something you may want to consider, but not enforce, because it's not here yet? trying to figure out, how do you rule that? Do you expect them to get ahead of the game?
No, in this case, it's to their benefit that in the future, it's not going to be the floodplain. I'm really more concerned about people who are not in the floodplain now, who are going to be, and there is, I mean, it's a federal map and it's a federal program, but we're the ones who are going to be taking the calls about it. And
But
there's,
we can't mandate that they meet the 2025 standards today.
no,
We can just strongly recommend it.
right.
I have nothing, but
Okay. I just had one other question, because I like to dig into stuff. Looking at the drainage calculations, you mentioned that there is an increase in impervious area, and yet the pre and post runoffs are exactly the same. How does that happen?
It's such a large area directed to the existing drainage system. Basically, the entire parking area on the left side, it's all a giant hill that gets directed into, I think, 4 or 5 catch basins. And the threshold might be, I don't know, say it's 1,000 square feet that would cause an increase existing to proposed, but we're underneath whatever that threshold is. So that, I don't know, you seem like you want to say something.
I can add a little bit to that. Drew's doing a very good job trying to explain this. So I understand exactly where you're coming from. When it's intuitive, when you add impervious surface to a site, typically you have an increase in runoff, definitely. When you're looking at a very small site and you have an increase in impervious surface, that increase is going to be observed. On a site this large, where you have a big parking area and you're adding literally, what do we say, 300 square feet of impervious surface, it's essentially one parking space. That's almost negligible. And when you run a hydrologic analysis in HydroCAD, what's called the curve number, the composite curve number, does not increase.
Okay.
So we don't get a runoff increase in rate or volume. And we publish to the CFS, cubic feet per second, not acre feet or any type of rounding error like that. So it's negligible in this case.
It would be lost in the decimal places. It's so small, basically.
Essentially, if you go back in the, if you look in a much more finite area, you definitely would see an increase, but this is such a large, expansive parking lot right now. The increase, it's negligible. The curve number does not move, so.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else we need to cover tonight? And this will be continued to the next meeting on the November 9th. Is that acceptable? Okay.
And can we just be clear on what the commission may be looking for from us?
Okay.
Other than from the DEP, obviously, if they have any questions or comments, we will address those once the file number is issued. I heard tonight they'd like the commission or the conservation agent would like a compensatory flood storage breakdown volume to volume, or foot to foot, which
Or even half foot. He said half foot increments.
half-foot increments.
That's what you
We
said.
can do that, I mean, by code, right, it's foot by foot, but we can do half foot. I mean, it's such a it's a small area, so we can provide whatever the commission would like or the agent would like. In this case, I heard a little bit of a planting plan request. I'm not sure that there was any contemplation to do any, and I may be speaking for our client, Nordblom, if they were going to do any type of plantings in that, is that the rain garden you were talking about, Mr. Keeley? That big, for a better lack of term, hole in the front of the property there?
I'm not sure where the hole is. It's right up against Middlesex Turnpike to the left, to the south of the rest.
Okay, so it's not the hole we're talking about. So as you're looking at the property from 4th Avenue and you're going into the driveway here, there is a deep depression that Mr. Sheehan noticed. There are some substantial large trees there, and it is very well grassed and landscaped. I don't know, a little bit of landscaping and mulch. Honestly, I don't believe that was in our intention to change, but Chris, you can mention.
Yeah, we can add landscape in there if it's what you guys would like to see. We haven't even considered it really, so we can definitely look into that.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. I mean,
Yep.
basically, any place that can be landscaped, it's nice if it is. And you've got some islands in there that could be landscaped
We're definitely adding landscaping to those.
With native species.
with native species, yes.
Yep. I just want to make sure we cover the commission's questions before, if we come back once in November, right, and just hopefully close it if
We should
possible.
be able to close that, I would
something else you
think.
wanted
Yeah,
to-
you covered the points that I had written down, so I
For
see
your
nothing
sake,
else.
yes,
Yep.
for sure.
And you said you were going to be adding 2 deep sump catch basins.
2 deep sump catch basins, correct, with oil traps as well, oil and gas traps.
Okay. All right, so if there's nothing else, then may I have a motion to continue this hearing for 168 Middlesex Turnpike and surrounding until our next meeting on November 9th.
So move.
Is that good? All in favor? 500. See you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay, next, item 9, discussion of additional land clearing at 84 Wilmington Road, DEP 122683. Come on up and please introduce yourself and state where you live for the record.
Hi, I'm Manalisha Bora. I'm the resident of 84 Wilmington Road. Moved there this Sunday.
Okay. Eileen.
So, sorry, just wanted to share some plans. So we're here tonight to talk about some clearing that Manalisha did that I feel went beyond what we talked about. So I want to make it clear to everybody. I was out at her property in July. I did say that she could take down a couple of trees behind here. I can't remember exactly where they were, approximately where my cursor is right now. And I did also agree that she could take out some moss back here and patch it up with some loam. When I went out then, maybe 2 months later, because I was just inspecting the stone trenches, I saw that there had been really a lot of clearing that went a lot further back than I had thought we were talking about. So it's not that she did not just do this off her own bat. We had talked about it, and I did say she could do some work back there. What she also did was she applied some erosion controls, which I did ask her to do, but then some clearing happened also behind those erosion controls, so that now the land is pretty much cleared for about 80 feet back behind the house. They have put their loam down. It is approximately where the erosion, I'm not sure if it's exactly where they were in this plan. I'm sorry, what did I say? They put their sod down, and it is pretty much exactly where the erosion controls had been, the hay bales. So that is what we knew was going to be the limit of work. I think if we want to talk about anything tonight, it would just be how she could maybe restore that additional clearing a little bit more.
Okay, so what we saw for the existing sod was basically what the expected original limit of work was.
That, if you see here, it may not have been the exact limit of work that was on the plan, but it is where the hay bales were.
Okay, so-
They may have been, a 10 or 15 feet discrepancy between those. Not 100% sure about that, but I'm pretty certain that her new sod is about where that line of hay bales is. So it didn't go further behind there. And these were the we had talked about trees, and I had said, she could take down these trees. I didn't realize it was just going to be so much clearing.
Yeah.
That wasn't the intent, in my eyes, I'm sorry.
Right. No, the left-hand side, that bush, it covered a lot of area. That's why it looks like we took a lot of things down. We actually did not. If you see in the ground, it's like all the weeds there. And we actually took down those 2 trees. And then whole area is cleaned. That's why it looks like, we took those moss out. And That's why it looks like, you know, like we went super farther behind, but it's not actually. If you see, go to the other picture, Eileen.
The ones with the trees again?
Yeah, no, yeah, this one. Like in the first picture, if you see, that area was covered by moss. It is a huge area. Now that we cleaned it, it looks like even bigger.
Right. But all
Yeah.
this area here was grass, and there was everything that was under the trees, which I didn't really expect to come out, because we were talking about just clearing to make room for some planting. So anyway, I think there was a miscommunication, misunderstanding about where we stood.
Right. So we already planted 13 native bushes and shrubs in that area. So that was another reason maybe the landscaper thought, because he was planting those shrubs in the riverfront. So that's why he's like, he cleaned it and planted those. And after we discussed with him, he's like, that's why I cleaned it, because my understanding is we had to leave our old house and we were living in a hotel. So we told him to put that what do you call the line?
Wattle?
Yeah, the wattle. And we told him to plant the trees next to the wattle, behind the wattle. And he thought he needs to clean it to plant those trees. So there was a little bit of miscommunication with the landscaper, because I could not watch it all the time because I was a little bit away. I had to give up my old house, living in a hotel, and I come in the morning, tell him, and I just come in the evening again. And so if you want, I already planted 13 native shrubs, but there is an area that, you know, one side they planted 8, and the other side they planted 5. In between, there could be an area where I can plant 3 or 4 more native shrubs to make it like a...
Well, I think that your intent had been to plant some trees where I'm just sort of circling now on the...
Yeah, that area we are saving for some fruit trees, not like bushes and shrubs. That's the area we thought to start with, like a few fruit trees. And then I love hydrangea, so eventually some hydrangea, some flower plants there in the springtime.
Okay.
And
I think it was just some incremental stuff that just happened.
Yep.
Yeah, we also planted 5 evergreens in the front of the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
We appreciate that you left those evergreens along the street, too. I mean,
Yeah, we left that also because that gives a good privacy, saves us from dust also, so, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, as you know, there is a stream that flows behind there.
I know, right.
This is a sensitive area. It's part of the Ipswich River, and it is an important stream in the state. So it is protected for an area of 100 feet is heavily protected in the inner river, and then 200 feet is a buffer zone, a further buffer zone. So it's very important that remain as natural as possible. Some of the things that you think are weeds on the ground are just nature taking over, which is what we want.
Right,
They come back in some fashion. So we would like to see, at least in my opinion, now you guys can chime in too, some of that area restored, let go natural, and plant some native plants, native trees, native shrubs. There are some native fruit trees available that, you know, you could consider, but, you know, a peach tree is not a native tree in Massachusetts. So, for example, so we would like to see some kind of combination of plantings beyond where your lawn area is, make that as natural as possible, have no mowing beyond the lawn area.
Right.
Let me go and see if other people have comments. Ed?
You know, this was really hard to kind of figure out without forcing a lot of effort and work and cost, you know, on this particular property. But you hit it right on the head as far as the fact we got to consider a river back there. And those trees and shrubs and things that were originally there were a great absorption of anything that might happen. My hard part is as to how much do we really want to restore. Well, if you looked at the one that was with you in it, Bill, kind of shows me better where the wattle is. My first impression was that's got to be restored exactly like the way it was with those types of shrubs. Of course, you
From the
got
existing wattle back,
yeah.
yeah, at a minimum, yeah.
And then I'm still puzzled as to what we might do right at the edge of the grass to that wattle. We were talking about trees, planting trees in there, but what about the blanket that the trees are in? Did we do anything there with low shrubs? I think you got to restore it to a point where it looks good. At the same time, they're happy with it and it has a purpose.
Okay. Sarah?
I understand one of your goals is to have fruit trees, and I'm, really support the idea of growing your own food. I think that's awesome. Nothing's more local than your own backyard. I think there's enough space in that area between the sod and the wattle to maybe achieve both goals. Like, you could have a row of fruit trees, even, God forbid, non-native ones like peach trees. I have peach trees on my property. And then you could let it go wild beyond that to the wattle. Because there's plenty of, that is a very wide area. There's enough room to have fruit trees and then let it go feral beyond that. Like, I am growing fruit trees in a space that's about 5 feet wide between my driveway and my neighbor's driveway, and the trees are 12 years old and thriving and produce like hundreds of pounds of fruit every year. So there's enough room to do both. I'd say make your trees that you want to make food, and then beyond that, let it go wild. That'd be my preference.
So the wattle line right now, behind that area there is some clearing. We are not going to touch that area at all. Like, it's about 10 feet, I think. So that area, we are just leaving it as it is, so that just anything could grow and be natural, basically. And the fruit trees or the flower plants that we are talking about is in front of the wattle. So behind the wattle, we are just leaving it as it is.
That's a really wide area. I mean, it's wider than you need for even 6 fruit trees, blueberry,
Oh, no, it is.
whatever.
It is a lot,
You
yeah,
could have closer to the river. It could be. You wouldn't need the entire depth of that to be
Right.
tame planting. So
You're saying effectively move the wattle closer, that line
effectively,
closer,
yes.
and keep
Move
it.
the wattle
okay.
line closer,
Okay.
closer to the house, so that you have your
Right,
strip
right.
of whatever, and then wild beyond. That would be my advice.
Yeah, so what we can do maybe, you see the big tree, move the wattle there, maybe straight line.
Yeah, something like that.
It will be, it will come maybe 10 feet or 15 feet closer to the house, and then leave the rest of the area as it is. But the area that we are, suppose first, the fruit trees are expensive, right? So maybe we'll start with 5 in the next spring. But that area, we just want to, the loom is already there, the landscaper put it, we just want to put that topsoil there and just do some seeding. We are not going to use it as our regular lawn, but it will be like, it will look a little bit greener instead of the mud. And we are not going to do mow or anything. It will be like, at least not moss or not weed or something, but it will be just a little bit of green area. We'll just do some seeding and watering, that's it.
But I would suggest not regular grass, though.
No, not grass.
Mowing.
There is, what am I trying to think of? Clover. Clover is a good ground cover. Clover, and it has your 4-leaf clover, that little plants that clover is a good ground cover. You can get it in the what's the blue spray stuff, when you do grass.
Hydroseed?
Yeah, we just heard about that yesterday, hydroseed in the clover.
You can actually have it hydro-seeded with clover, with micro clover. It's short, it's green, it's natural, never needs to be mowed, you can walk on it, but it's not grass.
I see.
So
But
that's just a suggestion.
does it gonna come to the regular grass? Does it gonna grow towards our lawn, like overgrows on top of our?
Well, you'll be mowing the lawn, so you'll be cutting whatever intrudes into the lawn and keeping it from growing into the lawn. You just won't be mowing the rest of it.
I see.
And I don't know if you agree with this, but the single best way to feed your lawn is to put clover in it. Clover actually fixes nitrogen into the soil, which is the food that lawns need. So the healthiest lawn is a mixture of grass and clover. I actually took my whole lawn and spread clover seed over it to feed it. And now I have clover growing in my lawn. It's all green, I mow it, but the clover captures nitrogen into the soil to feed the grass.
I see.
So clover is actually good for your lawn,
I see.
right? Rob?
So the area we're talking about is outside of the 40-foot buffer zone?
It's within the 100 foot.
It's within the 100, but not the 40, right? So
The 40 foot is a no build.
Yeah, so we're
generally, so-
clearly not, it's more like, so between the 40 and
The
the
40
100
foot is,
Yeah, that line.
I would say
So
I had marked it up, that the 82 feet goes back to around about here. So they've kind of cleared now to maybe 50 feet behind,
Oh, okay.
or, sorry, from the stream, 50 to 60, depending on where the stream is,
Yeah.
you know, because it
Yeah,
curves.
yeah, so I mean, I just think of this, yeah, maybe, you know, if we have the lawn and then some type of plantings and then some space beyond that, I mean, you know, definitely within the 40, just sort of leave it alone, and then hopefully we'll get, or some things like, you know, if it's well shaded, like ferns and stuff coming up, but yeah, I do think within that sort of between the grass, the edge of the lawn, and I guess where we're sort of going into where it's wild, maybe have some types of plantings in there would be, I think, nice.
Well, I think that's exactly what we're discussing.
Yeah.
But what, yeah, okay.
Ken?
No, I agree with Sarah. I think it's like you have to have some level of put back what was originally there, because it's, you know, in some natural. So I agree with that point.
Okay, one more question. In this additional clearing that happened, were any more trees cut or taken down?
No, only those 2 trees. Yeah. And we took approval before we took those trees down.
I did give her approval to take down those 2.
Right,
Yeah.
right, just those 2.
Right.
Can we request a couple, well, you're going to put in more trees, you said anyway, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think what I'm hearing as a, yes, John?
Just trying to look at some of the old photos, it's quite possible the big bush she was talking about removing may have been a burning bush. Kind of looks like it on the photos, so
Okay.
I'm not sure, but if that were the case, that was,
Yeah. Okay, so that's a good thing to have that removed, generally.
looks like it,
You think so?
yeah.
I don't remember going that close to it to see the twigs and everything.
Anyway,
So you might have
It's gone.
wanted that gone anyway.
Yeah. Just thinking back to my first time I owned my first house, and we had no idea about nature or anything, plantings or anything, and I had a burning bush. I thought it was spectacular, of course.
They do look
I dug it up and
gorgeous.
I moved it to a more prominent place and tucked it in. And then we had a little wild rose pop up in the back, and I fed it and put a little fence around it to protect it, you know, because it was cool, you know.
Is wild rose bad?
Yeah. But I've learned better. So what I'm hearing is, as a possible solution here, is to leave your grass line where it is, then do some planting of trees, and try to have a mixture of fruit trees and native trees in there, and then leave some space behind it, basically moving that wattle 10 or 15 feet closer to the house.
Okay.
And leave behind it, if you did want to plant some native trees or shrubs behind the wattle, that's okay, right? Yeah, because that would help to restore that area.
Yeah, but she does have the shrubs in there, which will...
Oh, that's right. There's a line of shrubs
Which will
there
be
now.
fed a
That's
little
right.
bit, hopefully.
Yeah.
But sorry, you're saying move the wattle 10 to 15 feet closer, and then planting in front of them? Is that what you're...
In front of the
is that what
wattle
your
is
general...
the trees that she's planning on putting in, trying to emphasize native trees and shrubs.
Along with fruit trees.
How far do you want the wattle brought in so you can help them understand this is the space? I mean, you could follow the line too. if you wanted to go back 10 feet and just put another line, that's where the wattle would be.
Yeah, that's a reasonable suggestion. Yeah, move it closer to the house by basically the
And
same
once that's
line.
there, then they can understand a little better, oh, but. yeah,
I
that's
have
something
another
behind we
question.
can follow.
So the wattle is kind of curvy right now. So we can make it a little straighter. That way it automatically gives that 10, 15 feet.
Well, that straighter wouldn't give 10, 15 feet. You actually have to move it in.
Right. No, it's like this way, right? So I was thinking maybe if we can do like this, then it automatically in this angle, you will get about 10 to 15 feet there.
Maybe, I think we might need a sketch, but I have a question as well, just about when you originally approved this, this here was pretty open, it was grass, remember? And this was all the wooded area.
Yeah.
And I think the original plan was to plant more trees in there, which is what she was leaving room to do. So are you and Manalisha open to the idea of her having a bit more of a clear area there, or are you thinking like more trees straight across? I'm not sure. I understand you're talking about moving the wattle further down here. I got
Yes.
that, yes.
And then plant
But is it,
just behind the wattle is where you would start the planting.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, please.
I think we need a plan revision.
yeah.
You need to draft a new plan with the new lines, so the commission can approve it, and then there'll be something to actually compare it to when she comes in for a certificate of compliance.
Okay.
I agree, we need it. But can it be sketched? Or do we need to get her to do an official one?
As long as it's sketched accurately to scale, yeah.
Yeah. Because it'll be pretty costly if she's getting a
Oh, yeah,
survey.
no. I don't see why it can't be just a sketch, but perhaps use one of the existing drawings and then draw, in color the changes and
Yeah.
the new lines on that, so we can see where you're envisioning moving the wattle to and changing the shape.
I mean, if you want to come over, I can show you there itself instead of engaging the engineer again.
Oh, no, we're saying let's not engage the engineer.
Okay.
But there should be an agreement. You should take the printout, sketch up.
Oh,
I
okay.
can mark on for you approximately where your line is now. You can sketch out, moving it forward or straightening your line.
Yeah.
And then what you would propose to put there. And then, do you want her to come back to you, or are you okay with her just at that point dealing with me and
Oh,
John?
it can just come back to the staff.
Okay.
But, that way, we have something that we all agree on. Right now, I think I know what I'm talking about, or you think you know, but it might not be exactly the same.
No, right, that's true. It's like a area of about, I would say 30 feet from the grass to the clearing. The total area is, I think it could be 30 feet, 25 feet of, So I was thinking I'll move 10, keep that 15 feet maybe there and then leave the other open area as it is, basically. Just leave it there and,
Okay, that sounds good. But I think that sounds like it's what I'm picturing. but I need to
Right,
see, just put it on the drawing.
I think a drawing would be a good
would be
idea.
helpful.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think if you have on paper, it's going to be easier for you guys to know where to.
Yeah, because I think that's part of what happened before, that she thought I was maybe one thing and I was saying that, you know what I mean? Maybe we should have had a plan then, a sketch for exactly what was going
Yeah.
where. Okay, so you're going to draw that up, sketch.
okay. I'll take a print out and do my best.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Could she just physically move the wattle and have you come look at it?
I can also do that.
That'd be easier for you?
I mean, not me, but I'm sure my husband can pull those things up and then move it.
What do you think? I mean, better to have the sketch?
I do.
Okay, better to have the sketch. All right.
Okay.
Never mind that suggestion. Okay. All right, well, thank you for coming in to discuss this with us.
Oh, definitely. But the planting, I don't think this is the right time because the winter is coming, so we have to wait for the springtime
Yep.
to do all the fruit trees and whatever few more native bushes that we plant. So until then, is the commission gonna hold the deposit money or can we get
Yes.
it back?
Well, what frequently happens, if the plantings or the landscaping isn't finished, but most of the other work is we can return some of the deposit.
Right.
And then just hold a small portion of it to ensure that the work that we wanted gets done.
Right, that'll be great because, you know, I'm gonna do it. I'm not like against the environment or anything, right? This is like completely actually misunderstanding. I thought when I got the clearance, I thought that the old order was like basically overruled with the new one. That somehow it just came to my mind that way. So, and all the 13 native and even for the landscaping, we are gonna plant a lot more tree in the front area and towards the neighbor side on the side also. So a lot of more trees are coming in the spring anyway. Yeah.
Good.
Say 2 seasons.
Well, it sounds like you like your yard and you will be trying to make it be pretty, which is
beautiful,
great.
definitely. Yeah.
Just keep in mind that that is a natural resource area that has to be protected as well.
Right.
Anything else, Eileen?
No, I was just trying to see whether we had said, you know, the 2-year thing.
No, we do. They should be monitored for 2 full-grown seasons.
Yeah. So don't we typically hang on to the bond for that? Or at least a portion, maybe?
Right.
All right. So when it comes to, the commission agrees to give all or part of the bond back when you do your certificate of compliance.
Okay.
So for that, you need your as-built plan. And then we're at the position of, she doesn't really have her plantings.
Right, which is why we're holding it.
She has some of them in, that's true.
The 13 that were required. They're
That's
already
true,
in.
the required ones for that.
She'll have a
in.
sketch showing what the plan is.
Right, so she could do her certificate of compliance now,
Right.
which is the process that's described down here.
Okay.
Like you do have to get an as-built plan.
Okay.
And
What is as-built plan?
your engineer will have to do a plan for you in that case.
It's the final plan showing exactly what was built. You have the original plans showing what you're supposed to build, and then the
Right,
final one, he verifies that this is exactly what was built. It's called as-built.
Okay. I think that was done for the building department. Is it the same
That
one?
was just your foundation as-built plan.
I see.
So you can talk to us more, staff, about the process of that.
Who do I talk?
You can talk to me or John about the process. It is written here. It's in your order of conditions. It's condition number 49. It describes what's needed.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so that's all we're going to cover tonight on this then, and thank you for coming in.
Sure. No, thank you. So, do I have to bring those thing and the sketch to you?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have to read that because I don't remember. So do I? So
Oh, no, the sketch is one thing and the certificate of compliance is another.
Okay.
It's 2 separate things.
I see.
This is to close out the whole order. The sketch that we talked about tonight was to deal with the deviation from the order. And the fact that you're now proposing to restore some of the clearing.
Okay. I think I understood. So, for the sketch, do I come to you in the office? Okay.
Yep.
All set? Okay.
All set? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You all have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is item 10, ratifying emergency certification for Beaver Dam breaching at Rahenes Park.
This is sort of well after the fact. But so we issued the emergency certification several weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, to breach 2 dams in the vicinity of Rahenes Park. The rec department actually engaged the services of a trapper who trapped 2 beavers. Once the beavers were removed, Eastern Middlesex Mosquito Control came in and breached the dams for us. As you know, that work requires a permit from the Conservation Commission. The breaching, the trapping of the beavers is a Board of Health issue that has nothing to do with you, but to go into a stream and break up a dam requires a wetland permit handled through the emergency certification process. So I issued it, and I just need a ratification.
So is there something we need to sign to do that? No, we just need a vote?
Just vote to ratify.
Okay. One quick question on that process. You say you hired this other company to come in and actually breach the dam. Is there some particular method or process to breaching a dam? Why couldn't you just have DPW go in and break it up? I mean,
Dynamite.
It's, so, I mean, theoretically, DPW could do it, and actually, we had a meeting today with the rec department, DPW, the Board of Health, and myself to discuss future situations where we're in this situation. So I've agreed to increase our stream cleaning budget by like $5,000 a year to cover that sort of thing. There may be instances where we can do it with our summer stream cleaners if the stream isn't really deep, if they can get in there safely and the water isn't up to their necks or something. In this case, the water was pretty deep at Rohannes. The work was done by hand. We really don't want DPW going in there with excavators. The mosquito control people had like 2 or 3 people. They went in there with picks and shovels and broke it up. There's benefits. I mean, obviously, they're not going to damage the resource area with an excavator. And also, it breaches it more slowly, which helps flooding downstream. If you just went in there and ripped open a dam and all that water released, people downstream, yards could get flooded from the sudden release of water. So it's better to do it by hand. In the future, we may try to do it ourselves with the stream cleaners, but we will budget money to hire someone. So it's not a private company. It's actually the state or semi-state mosquito control agency, the same ones that helicopter the Vine Brook and spray people's yards and whatnot. That's one of the other services they'll provide.
okay, thank you. All right, so can I have a motion to ratify the emergency certification for the beaver dam breaching at Rohannes Park?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0-0. Okay.
I will just add, we did investigate trying to use non-lethal methods there. We got a company called Beaver Solutions out there who install beaver deceivers, which are flow devices in the dams. Always my first preference. They evaluated it and said that in this particular instance, it would not work because to put the flow device in, the water level on the upstream side of the dam would have to drop down too low for the beavers to be happy, and they would end up just building another dam. So it just didn't work in that situation. But that's always, in my opinion, the best choice, because not only is it non-lethal, but it could solve the situation for years. The beavers are going to come back to this location. These 2 beavers were killed, but 2 or 3 years from now, other beavers will find this and they'll build a dam. But if there were already a dam there with a flow device, those beavers would still be there, and new beavers would come along.
Exactly. Okay. All right, and moving along the agenda, planning board comments.
So the Fourth Ave project is before the planning board, as is the Salem 5. So we can certainly update them on what was discussed tonight.
Okay. Very good. Subcommittee staff reports. Anything?
Do you have another enforcement order?
I do. I was going to put that under other business, but I can't. But yeah, we can bring this up now. So do we have to ratify it? That's what I wrote down, but is that what I meant?
Sure.
So we issued another enforcement order in the last few days. A guy had gotten in contact with me on Spring Valley Road in August and asked how would he go about taking down some trees that were very close to the stream there and in the floodplain. And I told him exactly how to do it and that he would need a request for determination, et cetera, et cetera. Didn't hear from him. And then we heard during the week that there were trees being taken down at that address. And I went out, and indeed he had taken down a whole bunch of trees quite close to it. And since I had told him exactly what the process was, we issued an enforcement order. So we have invited him to be at the next meeting.
Ordered him. Enforcement order, it says.
We have ordered him to be at the next meeting.
Voluntold?
Pardon?
Voluntold?
Yeah.
Okay, so that'll be an agenda item at the next
All right,
meeting.
we'll hear it then.
But you should vote to ratify.
Ratify it?
Ratify the enforcement order, okay. And that was the address on that?
10 Spring Valley Road.
10 Spring Valley Road. Can I have a motion to issue an enforcement order to 10 Spring Valley Road for the unapproved cutting of trees
In the riverfront.
in the riverfront?
Oh, so moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
0-0.
Question for you, Bill. What's happening tonight exactly with the line going under?
Oh, that's right. If you're going home tonight, don't go that way.
Which way?
Okay, Cambridge Street is closed
Right.
to the north of us, so they're relining.
They're lining it?
I think they're relining a sewer line, yeah. So they're not ripping it up, they're actually running.
Oh, okay, so it's just,
Okay, I have one new item to discuss. I've been following along very closely, attending most of the meetings for the Fox Hill School Building Committee, the new school going in there. They did decide, after a long and contentious process, they finally voted to have just a single school built there. They're not going to combine the two schools on that one site. So it's only going to be a new Fox Hill school. But there are other decisions to be made on that site. One of them is whether the school should be 2 stories or 3 stories, and that's not anything that really pertains to us. But the other is where on the site the new building could be located. Now, I'm going to share my screen if I can and show you the 2 different sites that they are talking about.
Oh,
Can I do that, or do you need to give me
he
permission?
just has to give you permission first.
Okay. Let's see.
that would continue to be a grammar school, right?
Yes, it would be exactly K through 5.
Okay, I
Interesting.
think you can present now.
Estabrook and Lexington went up 3 stories.
Well, that's what they're considering here. Share content.
I have a small, just a short question. On the last page here, the second, Sarah and I don't show up.
Page.
Oh, we must have an old page for you,
Yeah.
sorry.
I think some previous, should I just sign?
Sign in.
Yeah, just
right
sign it
there,
as
Put
it.
your name next to it.
Okay, just like make my own one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And then we'll forge all your signatures on a clean one.
Okay.
No, we won't. No, we won't. Thanks for noticing that. Okay.
All right, so this is the site. The white here is what's called the snowflake design of the existing school. This is Fox Hill Road, and then Westwood. You enter through, and now one of the limiting factors of building a new school is they have to do it on the site without closing the existing school. So they have to work around it, because there's no place to put these kids for 2 or 3 years while you build a new school. So this is, and this, we talked about the delineation of wetlands recently. There's wetlands, there's wetlands here, there's wetland here. This is the vernal pool down here. And then there's this whole area is a wetland here. None of the construction plans in any way will affect this wetland area here. But these other ones are going to be in varying proximity to the wetland resource areas. This is one of the plans, is to put it to the north of the existing school. This will encroach into this whole wooded area here and involve some significant tree cutting if they put it there. And there's now a network of trails that has been cut through here for the kids to use, and anyone can use it, but it's a nice educational opportunity as well. It's very interesting. If you wanted to look at the last meeting of the school building committee, it is available on BCAT. It had heavily covered sort of a summary of a lot of work that's been done over the last couple of years. Part of it is on the environmental nature of the school. And it's really interesting, all the things that they're planning. All of these red dots here are geothermal wells. There's 80 of them that are going to be in here to provide geothermal heating for the school. There'll be extensive solar on top of the school. So they're really, trying to be state-of-the-art.
Are they trying to go net zero?
Yes, they're trying to go net zero.
How about rainwater solutions, rooftop capture, flushing the toilets and
I
stuff?
haven't heard about that, but I haven't been in all of the separate meetings for the environmental process of the school. I'm not sure.
I'm actually not sure that's legal here.
Okay, Pacific Northwest, I've seen that
Yeah.
in schools.
Oh,
And the
yeah.
toilets are an interesting color.
I don't-
Light gold.
I'm just not sure it is in Massachusetts. Continue, Bill, I'm sorry.
No, I thought one of the schools they visited as examples already had that, but I'm not sure.
Okay, good.
But anyways, so this is option one. This is showing the footprint of the two-story building. If it was a three-story building, it's somewhat smaller, but it would be in the same location. There's four options. This is this location, two-story or three-story. So that shows you in relation to the things. One of the things about having it in that location, let me see here, have I got the drawings? Where are we? Is this here. So after it's put in, this is what it would look like. And they had all kinds of discussion about where the buses are going to go, where the parents are going to drop off their kids, and the trash collection. There's so many things to consider in building a new school. It's mind-boggling.
That's right.
Not only that, but the planning of where things go inside the school. Should the music be near the auditorium? Should the nurse be near the, the whatever? How much square foot for each study area? I mean, it's crazy. But anyways, this plan puts two softball fields and a soccer field right on the 200-foot boundary of the vernal pool. I think it offers intrusion easy into the vernal pool area. In that, you get soccer balls go in there, your foul balls, home runs, spectators lining up along the sides. To me, that is somewhat possible of more imposing on the wetland area. The other plan is to put it, it's easier to show this because the school is in white. Here is to put it behind the existing school, sort of parallel to the border of the vernal pool. And that, to me, makes the building an additional buffer to the vernal pool. There would be a small playground or two in the back, at least in this initial early draft for, first graders to go out and play or whatever. And there's all the geothermal wells would be in this area. There is more groundwater here, but they said that's not difficult to overcome in the planning and the engineering of it. All of this redness this is one of the intermediate steps of how you get to the finished product, but so this is not what would be the final paved drive area. This is just during construction, but I showed it because the school was easy to see there. So in the final look at this version looks like this. So as I said before, I think it offers more of a buffer to the most significant wetland resource area, which is the vernal pool, which may very well be the largest vernal pool in town. John, you think that's a reasonable statement? It's pretty big compared to others in town. And then your ball fields are up here in front of the school. And there's no cutting at all into this woodland area. But the downside is you've got a lot more paved area to get around to the school and get out with the buses and the parents and the deliveries and all that kind of stuff. So I'm bringing this up for two reasons. One, just to show you what's going on, but the other is, should we or do we feel that we would want to take a position on this and make some kind of a statement to the school building committee saying we think Plan A is better than Plan B, or just let them go ahead with what they're doing? I spoke up at the meeting and mentioned this 2 nights ago, but they were like, okay, thank you very much. It would carry some weight if it was the actual staff or the commission making a statement saying, we think this plan is better than the other plan for the following reasons. Does anyone agree that this seems to be significant preference? This one having more paved area, but a different
Do
geometry.
you want to send these out, or have us send them out to the commission? Send us this and we can distribute it and make it an agenda item at the next meeting?
Yes.
Too late. That's not too late.
No, it is not. We're 2 nights before their next meeting, when they're going to approve the site location, so.
Oh, really?
I don't know how much we'll be able to, but we can certainly put something in there.
Both plans both have the geothermal wells?
Yes,
That's, okay.
they're just in different locations. So, and then if you did follow along in that meeting, there's a whole bunch of intermediate plans between, Phase A of the construction, Phase B of the construction, and et cetera, before you get from the initial plan to the final drawing. It's complicated to keep the things moving during the whole construction, but they've come up with this Danesco company that's running all the planning and the engineering and everything is terrific, in my opinion.
First one you showed the existing school with the add-on. The existing school's gone in this one then, is that right?
Existing school goes away for both.
This is just during construction.
Existing school goes away.
In both of them.
It does go away?
Yes.
Okay.
I just showed this because it shows how it's situated behind the existing school during construction.
Gotcha.
But once it's
All right.
finished,
I got lost on that.
once it's finished, there's no school there, it's ballpark. And the other one's the same way. The other one, there's no school there. Now the ballparks are all down here.
And how many stories are in the new add-on?
The new building, they haven't decided that yet. That's also to be decided at the next meeting, 2 or 3. And they've got layouts of all the classrooms and all the facilities.
Committee of all of this gone to look at places that might be similar to that?
Absolutely. They visited half a dozen of them so far. Different members have gone. I went to look at one, and it was gigantic. I couldn't get over the size of the school.
Was that Estherbrook by any chance in Lexington?
No.
That is a huge school.
But it was a combined school. And as soon as I looked at it, I think, oh my God, that would be a beast on Fox, in the Fox Hill lot here. So I think that was part of the decision-making process, was when they saw how big the combined schools would be. There's all kinds of other overlying concerns. The current school holds 420 students, 440 students. This school's designed for 325. Because the state says that's what you're going to have for students in 2028, according to our calculations of fertility rates and movement of people and immigration, and you're going to have 325. And everybody's like, how is that possible? We got 440 now, and I've got kids moving into my neighborhood like crazy. It's like,
Lexington just went from 13% to 17% Asians.
just from
And
like
they're all
immigration.
bringing kids with them.
So that's another whole issue, but right now, the state says if you want our money, you play by our rules and our calculations, and we'll fund the school for either 325 students or 630 if you combine them both, which isn't 325 and 325 either. So I don't know how they come up with these numbers, but they did. But take it or leave it from the state. In addition to the state funding, which would be about 20 to 25% of the cost, the more environmental stuff you do, the more other incentives come along with it. The state will pay you to put in geothermal, or the state will pay you to add solar and supplement the cost of that. So, there's another several $1 million worth of incentives to go with modernizing your heating systems and things like that. And they've got all of this calculated in gigantic spreadsheets and everything else. It's crazy. One of their concerns is trying to get this through town meeting, because to build this building with geothermal and solar and whatever else is going to cost more than to build a building that doesn't have that. But over a 50-year lifetime, it will save you money.
Right. You gotta
But
look
you got
at
to
it.
convince town meeting to spend more now for benefits later. And good luck.
I think you're on town meeting.
I am one.
That too. There you go.
So anyways.
Have they discussed, are the fields going to be natural grass fields?
Oh, I hope so.
I have raised that question. Another question I raised today was, are the fields going to be lit? Because if there was bright lights on these fields down here in this picture, that might affect the wildlife in the vernal pool considerably as well, since most of them are nocturnal animals out there singing in the night. And she said, I talked to Martha Simon, the chair of the school committee. She said, I don't know the answer. I'll ask the Danesco people what they envision this to be. So I assume these are all natural grass, but that's just an assumption.
Wonder if crumbulated rubber, that's another thing. That's somewhat, I think, debatable in different surface types.
That's what the pros are using, right?
Yeah.
Underneath their artificial field. So anyways, I'll send out these drawings. I'll send out a link to the meeting and tell you at what point to start watching the meeting to get the information about all of this, because it really is interesting to see the level of discussion that they have on each and every item that goes on. But the process of how they would build it and where it would situate is very interesting.
Okay, so just a caution, Bill will send that out, but don't reply or anything like that. So, I mean, no discussion offline. Save it for the next meeting.
Okay.
It's never an easy task when it comes to schools. It took us a year and a half just to design it, the Esterbrook School. The biggest thing we had was traffic.
Oh, yeah.
That was the huge one.
That's the huge thing on
You
this.
had all these parents bringing their kids to school, and they ended up with a quarter of a mile on Grove Street, which is away from the school, waiting to get up the hill to the school. We said, we got to get rid of those cars. How are we going to get rid of those cars on Grove Street? We did.
Bus,
We
bike,
figured it out,
floats.
because we built something on the property.
That's exactly what they've done here, Ed. Right now, cars line up
That's what I
Fox
see
Hill
with the
Road.
loop. I like that.
The cars line up on Westwood, and they assure us they've counted how many cars are there, and they've created accommodation for all those cars to queue up on the property, in addition to all the buses queuing up on the property.
Yeah. You go to Esterbrook today, you won't see a car on Grove Street. They were all up on top of the hill.
Yep. So that is the concern.
Glad they considered that.
There's also a few abutters down at the very bottom of the picture. I don't know if it's even going to show. I don't think it's going to show. Yeah, there's a few houses down the bottom there. They're quite vocal about what goes on, because right now they've got a significant, buffer of woods here, and the school is, not much happens behind the school here, and now they might have 2 softball fields right in their backyard, so they're pretty vocal as well. There's a lot of issues. So, but we can make our voice heard if we feel there's a strong preference on location of the school to help protect what may be the largest vernal pool that we have. That is all. Okay, any other new business? Our upcoming meetings are November 9th and December 14th. Larry should be back for the next one, my understanding.
Should be.
And back to business as usual. All right, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Seconds, okay. Everybody's eager. All in favor? Boom, 5-0-0. We are adjourned.
Is anybody planning to go Saturday to the next?